For thousands of years, humanity has asked one of its deepest questions: why did God create the universe? In many religious traditions, the answer seems clear. God created the world with purpose, with intention, out of love or for divine expression, or to bring about a greater plan. In Christianity, creation is often seen as an act of love God, bringing the world into existence and declaring it good. In Islam, the universe is created by Allah as a sign, a test, and a reflection of divine wisdom. In Hinduism, creation can be seen as a cosmic play lila, a divine unfolding. These perspectives share something important. They all assume that God and creation are, in some sense, distinct, that there is a creator and there is what is created. And within that relationship, the question, why, makes sense. But there is another perspective, one that challenges this assumption entirely, a perspective taught by sages like Ramana Maharshi. According to this view, the question itself may be built on a misunderstanding, not because it's foolish, but because it assumes separation where there may be none. Let's explore that. Imagine for a moment that you are dreaming. In your dream, there are people, landscapes, events unfolding. You may even ask questions inside the dream about meaning, purpose, or cause. But when you wake up, everything changes. You realize the dream was not created by a separate being. There was no external creator deciding what should happen next. The dream was you. Not you as a character inside it, but you as the entire field in which it appeared. Now here's where things become uncomfortable. What if reality is more like that than we think? This is the heart of the non-dual teaching. It suggests that what we call creation is not something God did at a moment in time. Instead, it is something that appears within consciousness itself, not created, but expressed, not separate, but unified. In this view, God is not a being somewhere outside the universe. God is the very essence of being itself. And the universe is not something God made. It is something God is. Naturally, this raises tension with traditional religious views, because if there is no separation, then what happens to the idea of a creator? What happens to purpose, to divine will, to meaning? These are not small questions. Religious traditions often emphasize relationship, a relationship between humanity and the divine. A relationship that includes prayer, devotion, obedience, and love. But in the non-dual view, that relationship dissolves, because there are no two things to relate. There is only one reality, appearing as many. So which view is correct? That depends on how we understand truth. From a religious perspective, the universe has purpose because it was created intentionally. Your life matters because it was given by God. There is meaning because there is a divine plan. From the non-dual perspective, meaning doesn't come from a plan. It comes from recognizing what you already are. And in that recognition, the need for explanation disappears. This is why Ramana Maharshi often responded to deep philosophical questions with silence, not because he didn't have answers, but because he saw the question itself as part of the illusion. When someone asked, "Why did God create the world?" his response was simple: find out who is asking. At first, that may sound like avoidance, but look closer. Every question you ask comes from a sense of I want to know, I don't understand. I am separate from what I am observing. But what is that I, really? Is it the body, the mind? A collection of thoughts? Or is it something deeper, something that cannot be easily defined? If you turn your attention inward away from the world, away from concepts, and observe this sense of I, something interesting begins to happen. It becomes less solid, less fixed. And as that happens, the boundary between you and the world begins to soften. In religious language, this might be described as union with God. In non-dual language, it is the realization that there was never separation to begin with. Two different descriptions, pointing perhaps to a similar experience, but the interpretations remain very different. One says, God created you, and you return to God. The other says you were never separate from God at all. So we return to the original question, why did God create the universe? From the religious perspective, there are many answers: to express love, to test humanity, to manifest divine will. From the non-dual perspective, the answer is silence, not because there is no truth, but because the question dissolves when separation dissolves. And this leaves us with something profound. Maybe the question itself is not wrong, but incomplete. Maybe it belongs to a certain way of seeing the world, a way where God and creation are distinct. And maybe there is another way of seeing, where that distinction disappears. You don't have to choose one immediately. In fact, forcing an answer may miss the point entirely, because whether you see God as a creator or as the essence of everything, the deeper invitation is the same: to look, to question, to explore not just the universe, but the one who is aware of it. Because in that exploration, something shifts, not necessarily into certainty, but into clarity. And perhaps that is where both paths meet, not in an argument about who is right, but in a deeper understanding of what it means to exist at all. So instead of rushing to answer the question, sit with it. Why did God create the universe? And then gently ask, who is the one asking? Because somewhere between those two questions, you may discover something that no explanation can fully capture.